Right, so following on from this suspension, we're now looking at the bump stop, and I've already hammered this a few times and managed to actually whack this section off, and as you can see, the inside of the bump stop is completely rotted away, so that's going to need to be ground off and a new one welded back on. The actual chassis looks fine, as does the top of the strap, this bracket here that holds the top of the strap on the suspension, so that's just going to be cleaned up. This is going to have to be removed and a new section put on. So having removed the bump stop completely from the top, we have got holes in the top of the chassis up there, and there looks like a strengthener section, like corner sort of section in there, so hopefully that's okay, and then we can cut a plate out to and cut the section out that we're looking at the moment, in order to replace that with a new plate. Right, to get rid of as much rot and rust as possible around this area, I've taken out this section and also taken a small section of the arch out the front, as you can see, and we're going to fabricate one piece that will go in there that we can plug weld to the strengthener underneath, and then seam weld all the way around the outside on the chassis and in the arch as well. So this is going to be the repair panel for the chassis that holds the top of the bump stop, the actual rubber section. So we're going to cut this out and fabricate it up. Right, so I cleaned up the surrounding area as best as I can. I've got the plug weld holes in there, which are going to go up to the strengthener that's actually inside the arch, and we're just going to put a few tack welds down and then do a little bit more fabrication on this bracket, because it's quite an odd shape, quite difficult to actually manufacture. We might have to slice some sections on the front. This is looking at the front area. We might have to slice in this section here in order to be able to get the curve to go right. So I put quite a large weld on the front of this, and I'm going to work my way around now to bend the metal back into shape, and also underneath I've done the 4 plug welds, and I had to just put a few tacks on the side. We'll neaten that up and seam weld that properly once we've done the front. Right, so this is the inner part of the arch now, all welded in, and also we've welded underneath. Very difficult to get to, incredibly difficult to get to. So just need the stand now for the bump stop, so that we can weld that on there. So that's the new bump stop welded on. I put a few other welds down where I thought I wasn't really happy with it. So all we need to do now is wire brush this down and continue on scraping some of the undersill from the surrounding area, and then we can give it a good coat of paint of Hammerite to protect it from rusting. So hopefully you can see that I've now removed all the undersill from this section of the boot area, and continuing down the chassis leg, and obviously around the bump stop what we've just fitted. Now we can Hammerite all this area to maybe a couple of coats of Hammerite, just to make sure it's fully protected. Right, that's the first coat of paint on. We're going to leave it a few hours just for that to sort of gel off a little bit, and then we'll put a second coat on. So like I said, I'd heard that this was quite difficult to actually fit back on, so we're using a scissor jack, and we're just going to continue pushing it up until it goes on. Fingers crossed that it will actually click on. Maybe not this time, but maybe the next time. And believe it or not, using the jack, it went on, and holding it straight, it went on absolutely very, very easily.